Aurora police say they have identified the men in a viral video that came to represent claims about a Venezuelan gang takeover of the city. RTD's police chief is out, and RTD won't say why because, of course, it's RTD. A developer built on shaky ground. Now everyone has to get out.
I'm going to miss it. I mean, I look out here, I look at our neighbors. That's the hard part.
The winless Broncos are looking for any edge they can get, even wearing white at home after Labor Day, no less.
It just depends on how hot it is, how much sun exposure, and how much that jersey is retaining heat.
And breakdancing got bounced from the Olympics, but it was still a great place to catch Coloradans on a Friday to ask our favorite question that always puts life in perspective. Tonight on Next. It's the video that came to represent the claims that Aurora had been taken over by a Venezuelan gang. Armed men seen going into an apartment. That video was played wall to wall on Fox News and other conservative media outlets. Tonight, Aurora police say they know more about the men seen there, but police are not ready to say they're part of a Venezuelan gang. We begin tonight with 9 News Investigates' Chris Vanderveen explaining what we and what police know and what information remains elusive.
The video itself has made the rounds over and over again on TV networks across the country. Aurora's police chief announced today he believes he knows who 3 of the people in the video are. 1 is in federal custody. Warrants are out for the other 2. They're still working to identify the other 3. As for the gang issue, police say they cannot tell us if any of the 6 are part of the now notorious Venezuelan gang Tren de Aragua, or TDA. Aurora's mayor told me today it might be best to cool down the jets, so to speak, on the whole TDA talk. Are we too fixated on the TDA issue right now?
You know, I think so. I mean, I think whenever you have a group of armed individuals prey upon others, whether they're TDA or not, I mean, I think they're a problem in terms of conducting criminal activity, and they need to be stopped.
Should be noted that Aurora police told us today they do believe the meeting at the door caught on that security camera is somehow tied to a murder that happened in that building just a few minutes later, but wouldn't elaborate. As for that rifle seen in the video, Aurora police say they found it hiding in an oven in a neighboring apartment the following day. Chris Vanderveen, 9 News.
So with the potential gang affiliation of those men still question mark, the known extent of the Venezuelan gang that has become the centerpiece of Donald Trump's campaign for president lately, it stands at 10 members identified by Aurora police, 9 suspected gang members arrested. Trump says he'll come to campaign in Aurora in the next 2 weeks. So Aurora city leaders are moving their meetings virtual now, after recent gatherings have boiled over with rhetoric about immigrants, some flat-out anti-Semitic hate, and protests over a police shooting. Council normally meets in council chambers, but not next week. The last meeting was interrupted by a self-proclaimed white supremacist spewing hate and racism. There have also been repeated protests over the killing of Kylan Lewis, a black man shot by police in May. Police were trying to arrest him in connection with an attempted homicide. He was unarmed at the time he was killed. The city says they are considering other rule changes to their meetings because of quote-unquote continued disruptions. RTD's police chief is out, and the transit agency won't say why. RTD is about as transparent as a glass of milk. It's been that way for a while. But refusing to say if its police chief resigned or was fired could be a new low for the government agency that routinely laughs at your right to know. Joel Fitzgerald was RTD's police chief for a bit more than 2 years. He's been on leave since early July, and RTD has never said why. We don't know if all of this has a perfectly good explanation, is totally above board and innocent, or if it was something shady. We don't know because RTD has stonewalled every attempt to find out. During Fitzgerald's time as the RTD chief, he put live cameras on the buses, hired more transit police, added 24/7 officer patrols. RTD says it'll announce plans for an interim chief soon. Yard sales don't often make the nightly news here, but we found one in Johnstown that caught our attention. Everything in the house must go, from the gutters to the windows to the toilets. Here's Mark Salinger.
People walking down or coming down this neighborhood have got to look at this and just say, what in the world?
The trailers parked on these front lawns in Johnstown don't look like your typical moving vans. Then again, this isn't your typical move.
Going through this part of it, tears my heartstrings every day.
Holly Sturgeon knows she has about a month left in what was supposed to be her forever home. After living here 10 years, the basement flooded, and her family learned something they had never thought about before.
This was originally a retention pond, and in a flood last year, it came to light that it needs to be a retention pond.
The builder filled in the pond and built homes on it without telling the buyers. After the flood, the town of Johnstown decided they had no other choice but to buy 4 homes back, bulldoze the land, and rebuild the detention pond.
Up until about a month ago, I probably cried, and you can hear me choking up about it now, but I probably cried almost every single day about the thought of tearing this apart.
Holly has come to terms with the reality now, so she's parting way with everything before the dozers move in.
All the lighting fixtures had pendant lighting here. I've sold toilets, I have sold garage doors.
Literally everything.
Siding, gutters, everything's for sale.
The living room furniture already sold, so the patio chairs moved inside. Today, they're tearing down the deck.
Make me a moderately small, reasonable offer, and it is absolutely yours to take and go home with.
Everything must go, but it's hard to part with all the memories here.
I'm gonna miss it. I mean, I look out here, I look at our neighbors. That's the hard part.
Moving is never easy. It's even harder when there was no choice.
When you sell a house, you clean it really good for the next person. And I'm purposefully destroying the house. And that's pretty different. I hope nobody ever goes through this because it's not a comfortable feeling at all.
It is very different. Holly says the town of Johnstown paid a pretty fair price for the house, but it still wasn't enough to keep them in Colorado. Rebuying the exact same house somewhere else in Johnstown now costs way too much money. They've decided to move to Georgia to be closer to family, Kyle.
Oh, that is deeply sad. I mean, did they have any recourse, any way to try and fight back on this?
Yeah, their initial reaction was, let's try and fight back. Let's get a lawyer. Let's try and fight to try and keep our home. They talked to a bunch of different attorneys who all told them it was a losing battle. They wouldn't be able to do this. This retention pond needs to be there for the rest of the neighborhood. So they came to terms with that and said, okay, well, let's just try and sell everything and try and make this move a little bit easier.
Wow. Never heard of anything like it. Mark Salinger, thank you. The jury is going to be back Monday to decide whether the King super shooter was insane when he shot and killed 10 people in 2021. Shooters facing 10 counts of first-degree murder, dozens of other charges. Both sides wrapped up closing arguments today, and then the jury began deliberating. They've now gone home for the night. The defense tried to convince the jury that the shooter was insane, that he was hearing voices in his head.
Insanity is the only explanation for this tragedy. Mr. Dunn and I told you from the very beginning what happened on March 22nd of 2021 was a tragedy. There are no words that any of us can say that could properly express the extent of that tragedy. A tragedy my client caused.
Assistant District Attorney Kenneth Kupner said that the evidence that the shooter planned that attack proves that he was sane during the shooting.
We agree he's mentally ill. He has schizophrenia, but he is not insane. Every doctor who conducted the sanity evaluation in this case determined that the defendant was sane on March 27th, 2021, when he committed his crimes. The evidence you don't have is testimony from any expert, any doctor, saying this defendant, based on our examination, our professional judgment and opinion, applying Colorado law, we believe that he was insane. We do not have that evidence.
For a conviction, prosecutors need the jury to determine that the shooter was sane on the day of the shooting, regardless of their view of his mental state now. So every now and then, I will hear about a nonprofit project somewhere in Colorado that is so good, that is so simple and impactful that I can't wait to share it with you. And that is how I feel about this week's Word of Thanks microgiving campaign, to put a small food bank into every school in the Greeley-Evans School District. These mini food pantries allow students whose parents work nights in the meatpacking plant to bring home dinner. It allows the school cafeterias to divide up and freeze their extra food so it can go home to hungry families. The district's nonprofit Success Foundation is putting the final 9 food pantries in this month. There are 34 of them total around the district. And they say these food pantries are already bringing in parents who are now volunteering more often in school. This is feeding people and it is building community, and we can help. Scan the QR code on your screen or text the word thanks to 303-871-1491 to get that link to join me and a bunch of others in donating to the Success Foundation's School Food Pantry program. More than 3,000 of you have signed up to make it easier. You make a monthly donation to the Word of Thanks Fund and we divide it up. And that's meant that we've started your recent micro-giving campaigns with more than $23,000 a week. Use that same QR code or text to get there.
If your athletes feel like it makes them feel cooler, you probably want to go that route.
Sean Payton insists that wearing white jerseys at home is better for the Broncos. We asked the experts. And we're all agreed. The term leaf peeping, it's disgusting. Thanks to you all, we found several better ways to say it. Broncos fans who dared to look at the product on the field this season saw something unusual. The Broncos wore their road white jerseys at home in the preseason and last Sunday. Our Marshall Zellinger explains why.
Okay, so I'm just pointing the sensor directly at the white portion of the jersey.
There is one statistic that definitely does not appear on any NFL stat line.
I'm getting a reading here of 72.5 degrees Fahrenheit on the white jersey.
Through a thermal imaging camera, we can see how hot a jersey gets just sitting in the sun, let alone on a player in pads.
As it calibrates, we're looking at 94.5. With garments, darker colors tend to absorb heat, lighter colors tend to reflect heat.
Now would be a good time to explain why I asked for help from MSU Denver Exercise Science Associate Professor Tony Nunez.
So about a 12-degree difference from the blue to the white.
I am certain that the majority of the fans behind Pat Surtain are wearing orange, not the white jersey he and the rest of the team have worn at home for each game this year. A decision Coach Sean Payton explained in 8 words.
If there's heat, then we're in a white jersey.
I don't know if there's anything out there that specifically says in research that wearing a lighter garment helps eliminate heat, but there's certainly some information on wearing a darker garment causing more heat storage.
On Sunday, the Broncos will wear their orange jerseys for the first time.
Now I'm up to 86.5.
Orange appears to be a cooler choice than the blue in temperature and style. But the Broncos are in a dark jersey because the Buccaneers, who are at home in Tampa, chose to wear white. And that decision was made months before we knew it would be 90 degrees with a heat index approaching 100 degrees.
The pads that the players are wearing are going to cause the heat to be stored more so than the jersey that they're wearing. The humidity is going to have a larger effect because the humidity, even though you sweat more, the sweat doesn't evaporate, and the whole evaporation of the sweat is what cools you. So your core temperature goes up, and then your ability to perform at 100% goes down.
All this conversation about jersey color fails to take into account the giant fans and spritzers that the teams have on the sidelines, Kyle. Also, as Nunez pointed out to me, a lot of the teams put the away sidelines on the side of the stadium that gets the sun the most. The Broncos do that. Our colleague Kevin Vaughn has a theory. The Dallas Cowboys traditionally wear white at home. Dan Reeves tried this for a minute in the 80s before he got overruled. Sean Payton did this with the Saints, and he's brought it here to Denver, though in the heat.
Interesting. This whole thing is fascinating. I mean, goodness knows it didn't help them last weekend. They were pretty putrid, but I guess any edge is a good edge.
Well, the Steelers were wearing black. It didn't seem to hurt their performance. Although I will say, if you really want to cool off, you should wear a jersey that is really a blouse, because the breeze coming through here, that'll cool off any NFL player.
I was supposed to say, Marshall's sporting the popular new knee-length look in the Broncos jersey. It's fine, Marshall. Don't be ashamed. They're bigger men than you or I. Thank you for that. Spring and Lauren Robinson. I don't even know what to say to you after that. I mean, that was That was something to behold, but I guess you know what? It's science, right? You're a scientist. It's science.
It is science. And, you know, there's nothing that's going to get that image of the knee-length jersey out of my head through the rest of the day. That made my day. Thank you, Marshall. Now, as we go through the rest of the weekend, we're going to see big changes. You might need more knee-length clothing because it's going to get cooler and pretty wet out there. We can see that from our future cast. Tomorrow, we wake up to some sunny skies, but midday, we're going to see heavy rain showers start to lift in. The urban corridor being the last area to get some really heavy rain showers, but oh, it's coming. By tomorrow evening, we're going to see widespread heavy rain with some snow in the mountains, and then it stays through the overnight hours and into early Sunday before lifting out Sunday afternoon. So how much rain are we expecting? I think downtown Denver could get maybe 1/4 of an inch to 1/2 an inch. Surrounding areas up to an inch of new rain. To the south, we do have a marginal risk for severe weather across far southern portions of the I-25 corridor and into the San Luis Valley. We're looking for some storms there. And then shifting our attention to snow, we're expecting a couple of inches of snow up in the high country, so we do have winter weather advisories that'll be in effect for around 4 inches to 1 foot of new snow. Overnight, in the meantime, we stay pretty mild, and as we go through the next few days, we do have winter weather impact days for the second half of our Saturday into Sunday for that rain and snow.
Friends, we had a real breakthrough last night. We agreed as a community that the phrase leaf peeping is nasty. It's dirty, it's unclean, an abomination, someone called it. That someone could have been me. But then what are we, meaning local TV news people, supposed to call all the folks who go to see the fall foliage? Y'all came through with some really great ideas.
They could be leaf seekers, leaf lookers, color caravanners, tree pilgrims or gold rushers, foliage freakers. No, that has the same problem as the peeping. Arboreal adventurers is solid. Vegetation voyeurs, no, not that. Autumn ooglers, that's questionable. And my favorite, far and away, of all the ideas you sent, color trippers. When fall cools, Colorado and green turns to yellow and orange, it's time to do some color tripping.
Here we go. We're popping and locking into the weekend. Good news is next. Breaking, it's still a thing. It was an Olympic sport, and tonight, qualifier in Denver sends folks on to nationals. They took a minute to share the headlines of their lives. Our Friday tradition, celebrating good news.
It's managed to open doors and opportunities in my life that I don't think any other craft that I've committed time to can do for me. My good news is I'm a free black man in America.
My good news is I'm 42 years old. I'm invited to Red Bull Denver. My fiance is also an invite, so we're out here battling together. I think we're the oldest competitors and about to kick some butt, and I'm honestly just grateful to be here.
She just had a couple surgeries that she just went through. So for her to just be here tonight and have something to contribute is just a good feeling for all of us, for sure.
My good news is that my daughter loves to watch breaking and she's 2 years old.
Really?
Yeah. That's the only thing she watches. She won't watch cartoons. She don't watch. Nothing draws her attention, only dance.
It is part of the hip hop culture, so this element is like guaranteed to blow your mind. Be like, what is going on?
I run a nonprofit arts organization. It's a hip hop arts organization called No Easy Props.org. You can see how hip hop is really helping to change the community, helping our youth, teenagers and elders, and keeping us all connected and helping us for community benefit. So that's good news.
My good news is it's different worlds, same planet. Some may never understand it. Show up to show out, bug out.
We are back with your feedback about alternatives to the phrase leaf peeping. That's next. Mashera writes in, beautiful name, writes in to suggest that leaf peeping be replaced with the term leaf gazers. I like that. That's pretty. Kelly offers autumnal observers. That's good. Bob's mad. Leaf peepers as disgusting is just biased thinking. Are you thinking peeping toms? Yeah, I am, Bob. That's exactly what I'm thinking. Bob says only if your mind is in the gutter. All right, then send me to naughty thought jail. Just don't make me say leaf peeping.